We're going to be modeling many-to-many relations here. Previously, we modeled one-to-one and one-to-many relations, and now we're going to be looking at a many-to-many here. So with this, we are going to have a new class called project. We make it in our com.skillsoft. We're adding on to our previous project. Instead of here, we're having our many-to-many. We're going to have it mapped by projects. We're going to have it fetch the fetch type.lazy, and this is just making it so that when we fetch it, we have to actually put things in. It's not always going to be given and set for us. It's only going to be done whenever we call things. And then we're having a private set employee where we have our employees right here, because we want to have just a set of employees for this project, because we can have many employees for this project. Now everything else is really just going to remain the same. I don't think we need a getter and setter for this. So we have our employees here. We see that we don't need a getter and setter for it. Now let's go into our employee, because our employee is going to be the other side of this. So on the other side of this, now we have our one-to-one, we have our many-to-one, and we have now our many-to-many. Inside of our many-to-many, we have our fetch is equal to fetch type.lazy, we have our cascade equal to cascade type.refresh, and then we have our join table. Now this join table is going to be a little bit different from our join column that we had when we had a one-to-many. So for a many-to-many, we're going to have to make a whole nother kind of table. We're going to need a hash set after this, and a set because we want to implement a set of projects for an employee, and this is in the form of a hash set. For a many-to-many relationship and database, we want to require a separate relation table or join table. That's what this is about. This table is going to contain foreign key references to each of the entities in the many-to-many relationships. So first, we have the name of our join table, its employees projects, and then inside of here we have our join columns. So what we're going to be joining it on. For the other side, we're going to have this inverse join columns. And this is where we're also joining it as well. This is for our project side. We can see this first one, we join it on the employee ID, and we set it to our ID, and nullable is equal to false. We can't have it be null. So this is what it's referencing right here for our first one. Now for our inverse, we're going to be referencing the project ID, and then the reference column name is just project ID. So these names can be changed to whatever we want. We just have to stay consistent. And our project is representing referencing our ID, and our employee is referencing our project ID. Next we have our private set here, and then we have just really basic everything else. Nothing else is really changing here. So this is what we've had previously. And we also need to get set department. We added that last time, and now here we're adding a getter and a setter for our projects. But there is a little bit different here. For our setter, it's more of an add projects. So since it's a hash set, we have to add into it. So we do this.projects.add, and then we pass in our projects. And then we want to return our projects as well. So that's going to be for our employee. Next, let's go into our application. So after all of our previous code, we're going to want to add in two departments. Two projects. This is our department, employees, contact info, and then our actual employees right here. And then we have our projects. So we have project automation and then project sample. We have it as a new project. We have the project name, and then we have local date of. So this is the date like the project is due. Now after this, we are just going to have all of this being set to each other. We're going to want to set our projects to an employee. So we can do first employee.add project, and we add these here. Since this is many-to-many, we can add whatever project, however many projects to these employees. And then after this, we are going to persist our projects just like we've persisted everything else. And then we're going to want to print this out just like we've done previously. Now we can come back up here. We can run it. And in running it, it's going to look like this. We have our notes up here. And we're just going to go over the important parts. We have our alternating the table. We have our creating the tables. And then we should have our insertion right here. So we have our insertions. We have our updates and everything. We can scroll down, and then we see that we have our projects printed out here. And if we go into our MySQL workbench, we can show create table for the employee, our employee info and everything. And if we go into our project, we can see that we have both of our projects here. And if we go into our show star from employee, and if we go into our select star from employee, we're not going to have a project ID. That's just going to be with our project itself, and it's going to be with the kind of part that was in between them. And the part that's in between them is the entity or table that we had to create. So if we go into our employee, scroll up, we know we had to make employee projects right here where we joined it. So this should be our select star from employee projects. We're going to run this, and we can see our employee ID to our employee project, and that's how they're going to be related. And that's going to be all for our many-to-many relationships.